Still to come in the show, the Dragons. We'll start with the Warriors, Goran, and I'll start with you. 12th on the table at the moment, 2 points outside the top 8. Should they be satisfied with where they are at the moment?
Oh, don't look at me and laugh like that, Adam. It's very difficult to say that they'd be happy with where they sit, but given the state of the competition, and there's like a very a definite split between, say, the top 4 and top 6 teams, and then the next tier that are fighting for like 2 spots in the 8. And to see that the Warriors, with 9 games to go, are still just 2 points outside the 8, I'll say that there's a level of satisfaction. Yeah. Clearly they're disappointed, especially with what happened last week against the Dragons. But to know that they're still within striking distance of a playoff spot, there will be that level of satisfaction, Adam.
It's great to see that you're trying to find a reason to keep the hope alive for our boys. I'm with you, though. I'm obviously going to go against you because I don't feel like they should be satisfied where they are. Again, if it was last year and there's only 20 rounds and we're sitting where we are now compared to what the rounds are this year, I would be thinking that they're more of a chance of being satisfied with what they've produced, with the circumstances, with the injuries, with how they've been going. But with no hesitation at all, they should not be satisfied with where they sit. And I speak from a former athlete or a former league player that you can't be satisfied with anything when you're out performing at your best every week, week in, week out. And there's been games that they've lost by 1 point, and those are the games that they should have won. And if you go away thinking that you're happy, which I know they wouldn't be happy, but if you got the mindset of being satisfied with where you're sitting now, then where do you set your level or your standards at in the competition? And if you're setting it to be 12th and you're happy with that, then there's an issue in the club where you should be always striving to be the best. And if you fall short of 4th or 4th or 1 or 2, then at least that's where your target is and that's where your markers are. So your markers should be up high. It shouldn't be satisfied with being 12th.
Yeah. I mean, look, guys, there's no doubt about it. There have been moments throughout the season, really like close matches that they could have, should have won. They didn't. And, if they had have won those 5 games, I mean, let's count them out. There was 2 matches against the Knights.
Yep.
The most recent game against the Dragons, 1 point losses to Manly Seagulls and the North Queensland Cowboys. Yep. That's 10 competition points. They're currently on 12. They should be actually over and above the Roosters had all of those matches worked out. I know we talk about hypotheticals and what might have been, but that's just a way to showing how close they could be to like a spot in the top 5 of the competition had things gone their way. Obviously, they've had long-term injuries. Fonua-Blake was out for ages. Chanel Harris-Tavita got injured early. Ewan Aitken as well.
Yep.
So they've had adversity, and they're entrenched in Australia, where I'm sure they'd rather be at home. The fortress of Mount Smart, and who knows what that might have done if they had a few games at Mount Smart Stadium. Some of those close games, they may have actually gone in the Warriors' favour. But look, I'm not satisfied with where they sit either. But I'm talking from a strike point as we head towards a hopeful playoffs appearance. They've got a really good run. They've got the Sharks this weekend. They play the Sharks twice. Yep. Sharks are just narrowly inside the 8. They could easily be ejected from it. I think the Dragons will probably slip down the ladder as well after what's been going on over there. And then when you look at the run outside of the Panthers and the Rabbitohs, 2 top 4 sides, and they're definitely going to be at the pointy end of the season. They've got matches against the Tigers in 14th, the Broncos in 15th, the Bulldogs, who are running last, and that match will, fingers crossed, hopefully be at Mount Smart Stadium. The Raiders in 13th, and the Titans, who they've already beaten this year, in 11th. So there are a lot of matches against, I suppose, teams in a similar situation. And if the Warriors get some of their players back, like we're looking for Tohu Harris to return, maybe Chanel Harris-Tavita as well, Chad Townsend, get him back in the mix, all of a sudden things are starting to look up, look a little bit more positive, and they could make a play for 7th or 8th.
Adam, a couple of key guys return this week. We've got Cody Nikorima, obviously. Reece Walsh comes back in, but as Goran said, no Tohu Harris, he's gone as well, and Chad Townsend. So you bring a couple of quality players back, but you lose a couple of quality players. What are you expecting that mix to be like against Cronulla this week?
Yeah, I felt like, you know, when Chad come into the team last week, he actually did a really good job with the momentum of the game. For someone that was injured in the first 30 seconds of the game, to be able to control a game from being injured, but putting the boys into decent position to actually win that game, I thought he did really well. I guess Cody comes back. We still haven't seen Cody at his best enough consistently this year, and obviously there's a lot of things playing on Cody's mind with things outside of football and trying to sort out his future and what he needs to do. But again, we lost some good quality players, but there's a squad in there that's good enough to actually beat the Cronulla Sharks, and there's been a squad that they've put together on the field week in, week out that's good enough to beat their opposition every time, especially those 5 games. They beat themselves. They didn't get beaten by the opposition. They beat themselves because they couldn't capitalise on crucial moments of the game. And for the Warriors, it's been little moments in games that they've found themselves wondering, what are we going to do here? And when you start thinking like that, you obviously go away from the focus of what you need to do as a group. We've lacked, I guess, a 7 that, I guess, an organiser or a game manager where they go, we need you to get in this position so that we can take those 1 points. Chad came in, now we lose him again. So we've got Sean O'Sullivan there. Sean's, you know, he understands rugby league. He's brought up around rugby league. He gets it. I just don't feel that Sean offers enough to the team. So that's where we're kind of lacking in that department at the moment. But, you know, we've got a squad there that can beat the Cronulla Sharks. Penrith and Souths are going to be a tough ask for the boys, but you've just got to believe and have confidence in yourself. And I know every time you go up against a quality side, you always seem to lift your game up a bit, and those are mostly the games that we need to lift up a bit and actually take it all, put some pressure on those 2 teams and go after them and not wait to see what's going to come, because you know what they're going to bring. They're going to bring their best game against the Warriors, because the Warriors, everyone, never know what you're going to get with the Warriors, and everyone would say the same thing every time you play the Warriors, that you don't know which Warriors team's going to turn up. So they're prepared for the Warriors. We've just got to go out there and do our game to actually take it to the Penrith guys, also the Souths, and then the run after that is.
It could be a lot worse, mate.
Yeah.
It really could be a lot worse.
Yeah, it could be a hard one, but those teams are all in and around the Warriors, and there's an opportunity for them to actually.
They'll all be fighting just like the Warriors.
And they'll be thinking the same as well, is that we've got to win the next game, and for us to get a chance in the 8, and if they can't.
You know what? Like, I'm quite excited for what the next 9 weeks might bring for the Warriors, because, you know, you bring back the likes of Fonua-Blake, who might be a little underdone since his return from injury. Ewan Aitken will return as well once he's done his quarantining. And then you've also added some really strong players. Reece Walsh. Need we say more? Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, and I know that he'd be disappointed with the loss to the Dragons, but God, it was a good first up showing from him. Those players, their introduction, that adds strength. If we're starting to get the Warriors back to full strength in the back end of the competition, there's no reason why they can't make a run for the playoffs. And this is why I think that, to go back to the original question, there will be a level of satisfaction. They won't be satisfied with how the season's played out to date, but they're close enough if they're good enough. And I think they are.